Yeah, welcome to the podcast. But how about y'all introduce yourself? Sure, you want to go first? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Soua. I'm I guess, videographer, director, or whatever. I make videos mainly, and I run Sonders with this guy. So
Head of video.
had a video.
Yeah, that's a roll for sure. You gotta get that.
Well, my name is Peng. I am head of photography. I am a photographer myself as well too. I've been doing it for almost 8, 9 years now. And then we run Six Sonders together, and we've been running for quite a minute.
Yeah, I know.
It's
we really
it's
have.
been on and off, but I think it's finally come to its stride where it's like, okay, we know exactly like what we wanted.
Sure, take me through that like journey of like when you all first met, all the way until you started Seek Saunders together. Like, what was the like initial like friendship, and then how did it come into like fruition of starting Seek Saunders?
You want to tell?
I know it's like maybe it's not like encapsulating the whole journey, but like maybe that specific moment and then that specific moment of when you started.
Yeah. So I met this dude through Instagram. I kind of saw him like posting some like really cool stuff, and this was back in like what 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Oh damn, this has been like
before COVID for sure.
Yeah, this is before
6,
COVID.
7 years, something like that.
And I mean, I guess just like in the Hmong community, it's you don't really see a lot of people like make things outside of like music videos and like
Kind of like your standard
yeah,
like wedding photographers or photographers who
Right,
just
very popular kind of verticals. And
Yeah.
I guess we do stuff like outside of that.
yeah.
It was kind of hard to find those type of like Hmong creators too.
Yeah, so when I found this dude, I was like, oh shoot, like let's connect or whatever.
yeah.
And then I think it was a couple months after I made a trip up here, and we hung out with it was me, him, and Vivian, just for like a weekend. And after we got back, I think it was like maybe another couple months later, and we were talking about like we've always wanted to start like a production company kind of a thing. And at the time, a lot of it was based on travel because we were really really focused on like
Damn
travel.
colder days.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pre-COVID. Like, I feel like that was like people were traveling and stuff. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm sure it was like obviously where it started, but that's crazy how it's evolved. But yeah, what about like from there starting? Seek Saunders. How did that come about from the friendship and meeting? Peng.
I think this guy actually brought it up, and he had two other people that were interested in doing it, and they were with it for a little bit. The thing that was kind of hard was that I was still in Wisconsin at the time, and he was here, so the collaborative thing was really hard for us to do because we're just states away. We can't talk to clients the same, or we can't like meet up with each other and like have meetings about stuff in person.
Yeah.
So that was like a big barrier for us, and we.
But funny enough, we did land a client.
Yeah, we did land a client. Yeah.
It was funny. It was like we gotta find a client, and then we found a client when he was still visiting, and it was Urban Wog, first client ever, and they were gonna be a retainer client too, but I think there was like a lot of creative differences
Sure.
with us and that client, and so we're like, okay, we have to like drop this, but that was like our first like initial like client ever. Like I did most of the filming, and then he did most of the editing, and then we just got like some source of like income from that guy, but I think it wasn't like enough to like what we wanted. Like we didn't want to do the food industry.
Yeah. And when did you move to Minneapolis? Because obviously it was COVID. I kind of moved here during a little bit COVID time too. I think it was just opportunity to get to a new place. So like, when did you come?
I moved here in 2022 in the summer. So that's when I got here, and that's when everything really started to kind of like ramp up, getting more involved in the community, getting connected with this guy, and then trying to.
Was it mainly for the creative community, or was it mainly for like work and like other stuff? Like, what was the main like driving force for like moving here, I guess?
So I talk about this a lot. So where I'm from, a lot of people weren't doing like what I do or outside of the box like creative stuff. A lot of them were like wedding photographers, family photographers, and all that stuff, which is fine. But it's just I can't create with them because we're just in two different lanes. And so when I took the trip up here, it was just kind of like this is where I need to be, you know. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the driving force, which is basically the creative community in a way, because I felt stuck
Yeah.
and like I've plateaued where I was. And honestly, moving here, I've noticed once I moved here that like that plateau broke. Like
Right.
shift
You just
change.
started to like level up from there. No,
Yeah.
I feel like once you start surrounding yourself with like people who are doing the same stuff, who are constantly like pushing themselves to be like better,
Yeah.
you just start to like learn faster and operate differently. Like not, especially like did that. I was like I get in the same boat. Like I lived in like bumfuck Iowa, so like literally same thing. I feel like sometimes with your hometown, you kind of have to move out sometimes.
Yeah.
Because where I grew up, especially at a small town, like you start to get into video and you become the video person, and then you start just like hitting a ceiling, and it's like, all right, time to move and challenge myself and take risks. So I was definitely like in the same boat, and once I moved here and started meeting people, I started to like just grow like so fast, which is kind of crazy, but speaks for itself for Minneapolis.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like,
Yeah, there's a lot of talent here.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
a lot of talent.
There's a lot.
and then after that, yeah, I guess, how did the, because Seek Sonders started in 2024 or 23?
21,
21, okay.
21, 22.
So after you
it's a
moved
mix of
here,
both.
after you moved here, what did Seek Sonders look like at that time?
You want to go with that one?
Honestly, it was just more like a start, to be honest. Like we were like, hey, like we had to focus on a niche, and we still want to do like travels. We still want to do like hospitality as well, because that was like like what we wanted. And yeah, we went on a couple trips before that. We went to Arizona first, and that was fun. Like we, that was a funny one actually. Like, so we went to Arizona. We planned it too, and it was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna hit all these like national like landmarks, and we did. And I think we made our first like travel content in Arizona, and we're like, okay, yeah, if we could do this, we could keep doing it. And so we kept doing that, but then like COVID happened and all these type of stuff kind of happened, and the traveling and the hospitality industry just kind of like went down a little bit for us. And so I think that's why we kind of like scale back a little bit, restructure, and see like what we wanted to do. And so it took us like almost 2 years. Like we took like a good like 2 years break.
Yeah, I would say like a 2-year break in a way to kind of like, because one, I needed to adjust to the community here and figure out like the landscape here.
Sure.
And he's the one that told me to do that. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fair.
It's just like settle in and get yourself immersed into like,
Yeah, I
everything
think
going
in a
on.
way, I kind of want him to get comfortable with like being in Minnesota first, and also understanding like how to work with creatives, and also understanding like your own niche, which is for him. But for me, I've already like established all that already. I've already met a few people that I've known already, so it's more like, okay, I need to. It's more like a balancing. It's kind of like, hey, I gotta let my business partner like do his own thing, so that he can like work his way up to at least to the level that it needs to be performed. And so when that happened to like where we are now, it's kind of like, okay, we can finally be at the same level, in a way where it's like we can at least strive for on like what we wanted, and understand like how the industry and the at least creative world looks like too. We're like, okay, do we still want to keep doing travel and hospitality? Like, yes, we can, but how often are we gonna keep that going? And so we're like, okay, what can we do in the States? So we're like, okay, I think we can do like brand and commercial now. So we do a little bit of brand and commercial, some hospitality here and there, but those are kind of like hard to hit too. Because what we did like at least
We did 2.
3, right?
No, we did 2.
Two?
Yeah.
2? Okay.
We did one in Iowa and then one here. In
Yeah.
Stillwater.
I
And
feel like it's tough with hospitality.
Yeah.
Like it's I feel like their margins are a little bit lower, so like they might not have as much it's not like a main focus for them. Whereas like other like a specific commercial client or have a marketing budget for something. So.
exactly. But we were like, this guy was really good at like knowing how to market. Like he knows how.
Yeah,
He's
I
the
know.
admin guy, and I'm like, I'm the brainworks of like the creative side. And then I'm like, okay, I think this works out. And so I think that's how we established like 600. Like he knows like the logistics of things, and then I'm like, okay, I know at least the creative side of like being on production. So let's put our brains together. And so yeah, we learned throughout like together. Like he has some power that he knows that I can take from, and there are some things that I have that he can also
Yeah.
take from too.
How important is it to like lean on each other's strengths and weaknesses, and how does how does it look like now in your structure, like playing on each other's strengths and weaknesses, and like I guess trusting each other to do certain things within Six Sonders? And
I think you can go first for this one.
Yeah, I think leaning on each other has been kind of like something that we've never really honestly needed to talk about. It's been very organic in the way that it's kind of came about, and it's been a very like two-way like understanding of like, hey, this is what you're good at, this is what I'm good at. Let's do it, right? And I learned a lot from this guy because he's very detail oriented, especially with creative, like making shot lists and call sheets and all that stuff. And, before that, I was just like run and gun, like just show up and shoot. But then once I moved here and I started working with this guy more in person, like I started to take notes a lot of that stuff. And like I see how important that stuff is. And like he still handles a lot of that stuff, but like I take a lot of that aspect and like, okay, if there's things that I need to do for that, like I can. And he does the same thing too. Like if he needs to email somebody, he'll always like, hey, double check this.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And then yeah, I guess within your company, like, did you see like a specific need that you could like bridge the gap or bring value to, like, doing more brands and commercials, like specifically like Seek Saunders, like did you see yourselves bringing something specific to brands or individuals or companies that other people weren't doing, at the time, or have that you've noticed?
do you have anything to say on this?
I think with this one, it took a while for us to like understand like our business niche. But I think our main focus, especially being called like Six Sonders, is we focus a lot on stories. And so as long as we get like their stories and what their like their main purpose is, we can start like picking in the details on like how can we perform the shoot that they want, how can we create like the visual, or how can we create this piece for them. Just like with Rooted by Stories, like it was hard to get stuff out of his head
Yeah.
until we was like, hey, how about you answer these questions for us so that we can understand like what you want. And once we started to get those like questions to him, he started answering it. We're like, okay, this makes sense. Like it kind of looks like you want more of like a commercial look, but not really. It's kind of feels more documentary. Sure. And we're like, you know what? It sounds like it wasn't within our niche, but I'm like, it's still storytelling. Like we're still creating a piece. So I think that's what we got out of it. I think with our business structure is like, hey, how can we bring your story to life?
Yeah, it's kind of in our name.
Yeah.
Seek Sonders.
Yeah, I guess like speaking on the name, like how did the name come about? Because obviously Saunders is like realizing like everyone has that kind of unique individual life. But how did that come into play with your name, and like is it something that you feel often, like the feeling of Saunders?
Yeah, the way that Seek Saunders kind of takes that name, and when we were looking at it, like we were trying to figure out like, hey, well, how can we like identify ourselves and like, what we do, right? And a lot of the things that we both of us kind of realize is like we like to tell the stories of things, right? And so we found Sonders and we're like, oh, that's a pretty sweet name. And the way that we kind of built the name out on that was like Seek Sonders, which is like seek stories, right? And like companies have like their own brand story or brand message or whatever, and sometimes like they have a hard time like telling it, or there's, I don't know, let's say a startup or something, they don't know how to like, Rooted by Stories, right? He didn't really know how to portray that message. So it's like seeking those stories to help those businesses tell that story for them, So that's kind of, I guess, the deeper meaning of Seek Sonders. So
Yeah, then I guess like, because when I was like looking at like, I was looking, honestly, I was looking at your website and I was like kind of doing a little bit of research, but at the same time, like I feel like Sonder is very similar to like, but not like synonymous, but like similar to like imposter, because like Sonder, obviously it's just like, you're viewing that, you're having that realization, whereas like imposters, like, oh, you're just you're viewing the perception of like others. Like I was like thinking like, oh, like Seek Saunders is somewhat like helping people like realize themselves, like kind of their identity and their story, rather than like imposter syndrome. You're just like feeling bad for yourself because someone else has something, rather than like getting to know yourself more.
Mm-hmm.
So can you speak more about like, I don't know if that was an intentional like thing, but the way that I was like reading it was like, oh, like, this is like more of an identity thing, a more of a story thing, you know.
It's exactly what you just said. Yeah, I think it was more like finding like an identity within yourself. Like we even like did like shoots based off on like identity as well too. Like who are you at the end of the day? Like we're here to help tell your story. Like we're not the one like building that story for you because you've already told us the story already. We're here just to like help create that story for you. And I think that's the best thing about like at least our business structure is like we understand stories and we watch a lot of stories and all these type of stuff. And I think it just came into like fruition. It was like, hey, like we like this. We like telling a story, and we didn't want it to be something more like everybody else. Everyone has like their own structure, but we wanted to be able to at least tell that initial story. And I think that's why like our logo and our the way like we refine things has such like a timeless and a priceless look, is because like we still want to maintain like that structure, but then we can still branch off on like, hey, like we can still shoot like branded commercial and still have fun with it, but then we still want to be able to like help tell a story at the end of the day.
No, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I feel like when I first met y'all, like I knew y'all like started that, but I guess too, as you're still like developing and redefining, and then also like just being in the studio this year as I like started my own company, I started to connect with y'all more obviously, and then being able to which obviously like led to more opportunities to like work with you and collaborate, because I feel like before then like we'd had maybe run into each other, but we hadn't like actually
Yeah.
like we hadn't even like sat down and have a
Yeah.
conversation, like really get to know each other. So like being in the studio, and then obviously like helping on one of your clients, that like helped kind of build that relationship, and being, I guess, in community with y'all. So I think like that was a cool thing, as I like when I first got to know y'all to like now seeing the things that you're doing has been, really cool to like witness. And then yeah, I guess too with like the project, with being like on that, is it okay to say their name? They're rooted in stories.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If it
yeah.
is or not.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You're good.
Okay,
You're
okay.
good.
But that project, yeah, like I guess dive deeper into that process, because I felt like maybe it was a new kind of thing y'all were like exploring as well, as far as doing more narrative commercial stuff. So yeah, maybe take me from the beginning of how did that come about, and what were some of the challenging processes that you're able to overcome?
You want to start?
Yeah, I probably won't start from like how he like messaged or emailed us,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I think how we like essentially like landed this person was like, I think what sparked us was like he really wanted his brand to be told, right? I was like, okay, great. Like we sat on a call and we kind of like want to understand like, okay, what exactly do he want in order to like spark our interest? Because like we also don't want to waste their time. We also don't want them to waste our time. So we were like, hey, like let's just get straight to like what is it that you wanted. And so going into it, it was like we managed a lot of clients before, and it's like, oh man, like it just wasn't it for us sometimes. But this guy was like very dedicated. Like he was like, hey, like I really want my story told. Like we really want this. And he was out in LA too. And we're like, okay, well, if that's the case, like what can we do to at least better assist you, right? And so just by like gathering information from him, understanding like, hey, what is it that you really wanted, and all these type of stuff, it kind of helped out a lot. He was very detailed. I think that's one best thing about it.
Yeah,
I think
honestly.
we catch like a lot of like standards and also values. He was like, as long as he's very detailed, and very communicative, he kind of like gave us a green light. It was like, okay, I think this guy's like a really good client to work with. Like we need to at least be able to get this person somehow. And so we did that. I think the only part that was like challenging was I I believe it was understanding like, hey, like how can we work with his budget, but also help tell his story in a way where it's like it's like workable for him. And I think when me shows like I think the best part is just communicative, really, just being communicative. But I think the only challenging part is probably just like building out that story, to be honest,
Yeah, I
because
guess.
it was pretty hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess because I feel like as like directors, producers, like even if you get a budget, like figuring out exactly how much this thing's gonna cost that you're trying to like do is kind of challenging because I feel like it can scale. It can scale sometimes. You never know what um, things might cost. I guess how is that like process? Like, did you knowing going in that budget? Like, did you know like oh we knew this was gonna be a 1 day shoot? Did we know what kind of size of team did we have? Did we know obviously what kind of team members to include? What was that like process
I don't know if I
like?
take over this one for a little bit.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
So I'm the one who like manages our money, which is really good too. I'm glad he like trusts me with all that type of stuff. And me and him went with at least we went in with this project of like, hey, like no matter what, like we want to get some money out of it, but as long as we can make the project look very like amazing, we're okay with like, hey, you know what, like screw it. It could be like 70% of the money could go into the project and 30% can just go back to us in the business. And so we're like, hey, we're willing to make a sacrifice just as long as the project turns out amazing. And so I think when we gave ourselves that flexibility, we were able to like find and also hire teams that can help us out. So just like finding the talent. I think that was the most challenging part.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks to like, I think we met Jenny at a convention. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, like we know a person, and so there was another person before her, but I think it was kind of hard to get that person too. But we're like, I think Jenny's the most closest person in Minneapolis who we can reach out to, and she's also Vietnamese too, and
And
it kind of helped us out
She's
because our clients is
experienced.
also
Yeah.
Vietnamese.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best part. And I think another thing too is like connecting with Fillet Studio too, which is you, Devin. Like we were like, hey, you know what? Like we've always been wanting to work with you, and we were like, hey, like we were like, can he budget with this budget that we can get? I think that was the only part. It was like, damn, we know he's like an expert. Like we know he know what he's doing, and we're like, we gotta somehow like get him on the team some way somehow. No matter if he's like DP or if he's doing like gaffer or if he's just assisting, like we like want you on the project.
Yeah, I would say like the big thing that me and him have like a really good understanding of and what we want to do when we bring people onto projects is we want to pay people.
Yeah.
Like we never want to like lowball people, and we always want to like make sure that if you're going to contribute to a big project like this, that you're going to walk away with something, because their labor it's skill, and for us to say, hey, can you do it for free? It doesn't.
Doesn't really sit well with us
Yeah,
sometimes.
it doesn't really sit well,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that too. Like something that I'm obviously implementing as well as like making sure people are taken care of. Because like if they are taken care of and they agree to like what you're able to like provide for them, then it's not really about money. It's about everyone being aligned on the vision, everyone coming with solutions. Like people aren't feeling that kind of burden or weight, or some people like to do free work, but at the same time I'm like, I know you want to, but I'm gonna pay you because I value you.
Yeah, that was our friend Gus. Our friend Gus was just like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, don't pay me, man. You guys have helped me way too much. We're just like, too late, bro. Like, we're gonna send it to you anyways, dude.
Sorry, I give him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a fun project. I felt like I guess like take me like on set too, because y'all were like directing, producing, and you're also filming at the time too. So um, tell me like that part of leading a team and then also like communicating on set. Obviously, making sure everything's aligned like pre-production wise, but then obviously when you're prepared and then some things pop up, like how does that collaboration and communication work like on set with Seek Sonders?
I would say for this one, it was really challenging because me and him, we've built teams for like brand campaigns and stuff, and not so much of a narrative style video. So that was like a whole new realm for me, and I learned real quick that I needed to have like I needed to take over a whole bunch of roles, like producing, um, managing like our cast, and our team, and all that stuff, making contracts and all that stuff. And I was like, oh my god, this is a lot. And then also having it being a narrative structure in Vietnamese, because we're not Vietnamese, that was just a
Yeah.
whole other layer of just like a thing that we had to figure out. So just managing all of that, it was pretty stressful, but at the end of the day, it was rewarding because like we did it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's it. It was such a like cool to see, like to take a step back and not be a creative lead and just be like the gaffer and like help out in that area, because I'm able to like learn how other people lead, how other people communicate, and I'm also just like a team player. Like I'm not really above anyone. I'm just like
Yeah.
like you're asking how we can make this better. I'm gonna try to come up with the best solutions I have and share them with you, because at the same time, like it's all about like seeing how each other like works in different perspectives, so you can like have a better outcome and better process and experience. So um, yeah, what was like the feedback from like everyone, like when you did that project? Like did people like being on it, or like um, I guess from working, because obviously I feel like as a production company too, like reputation means a lot, especially when you're working with a bunch of people on set, not only with clients but with crew people. I feel like that's super important of like how you lead and how you treat others. So yeah, I guess like was that um did I don't know, did you get any feedback from anyone part of that project, client wise or crew member wise?
I feel like everyone was really happy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, like even like our BTS people, it was like, dude, like even though they didn't do much, they like enjoy being on set and they enjoy like being around like other creatives. So I'll say that about like those individuals like Axel, Gus. Do we have another BTS person?
I think it was just those two. Yeah.
Yeah, those two are like our main BTS, like one video, one photo. And we just was like, hey, like we just need you guys to be on set. But I think the biggest feedback was from Erica. Yeah, Erica, I think it was technically like I know she also wants to be more involved in the creative scene. And so like hiring her as like our assistant, because we needed her anyways.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, dude, like that was probably like the most fun that she had like throughout that month. And I guess I was like, wow, like I didn't know like you want to be a part of this. We just knew you because of Jenny. And Jenny was like, hey, like she knew somebody, and then she was like, hey, let me hit her up. And I think it kind of like sparked a little bit of interest for her because she kind of wanted to get more involved into it. So her comments were like very positive.
Right.
Jenny was another one too. I was like, hey Jenny, like I know you're like really good at an actress.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think about this? She was like, wow, that was really like fun and like really like amazing opportunity for her to do something like this with her mom, because I didn't think she had like an opportunity like this, and I think it kind of helped her and her mom like grew as well. So I think like it was all very like positive feedback. Like, I mean, I didn't think we asked you yet, but how was it for you?
No, it was good. Like I said, like I felt like it was cool. Like y'all were like super organized. And that's you
Hey,
say
hey,
that
we were organized.
you say that, but at the same time, like I feel like I've seen a lot worse.
That's good to know, man. That's so good to know.
So, and you know how it goes in our realm. Like sometimes you have to just roll with the punches sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like y'all were like super prepared of having as much details in all your pre-production to make sure it was seamless. And I feel like there wasn't really any rush either at the same time. The way that I felt it, like you gave time for us to set up, you gave time for people to prep, and then when it was go time, like we were just rocking and rolling. So, and also too, we're leaving room for like for them to perform, for like any minor changes. I think sometimes quality can get pretty bad if you start to rush things. So like I thought I really appreciated like that part of the process of being really intentional about the way you're leading other people, and then yeah, getting all the shots that you needed. The priority was like, um, as long as you get everything that you plan to do, I think that's a huge success. And yeah, so glad everyone was there to help too, because I feel like wrapping up can take a long time too. So
Oh yeah, I
I'm
think
glad
that
everyone
the
was there to
challenging part. I was
help.
like, do we need at least an hour to like wrap up? But I think this is my first time. Actually, I feel like I've produced a couple like our shoots before too, and I think that's what helped us throughout the years, like having those experiences that we've had already. No matter if it was like 2 hour shoots, 4 hour shoots. So I was always the one like organizing for sure throughout the shoots. And I think that's what made this shoot even more possible is because we experienced those things before. And it helped us be like, hey, like let's be on time. Like we know how long each scene is gonna take, or we know how long like setup is gonna be. We know how long taking down stuff is gonna be.
Sure.
And so by like doing those experience beforehand and where it led to us to this project, it kind of gave us more of like a smoother transaction.
Yeah. The have y'all had any like crazy horror production stories that you can think of?
Shoot, do
That,
we?
because like at this point, obviously y'all have learned so much to get to be able to do a shoot like that. Obviously there probably has been something that's gone wrong in one of your previous shoots that's like, dang, like I don't ever want to do this again. And you don't have the name drop no one, but you can just be like, yeah, this is what happened one time, and yeah, that's
I think there might be one, but we just like forgot about it.
I'm trying to think. Well, what have we made that? I don't think a lot of our productions have had any like horror stories, but I think a lot of it has mainly just been like
chaotic or something.
meeting people. Like if it was like a prospective like client or something, that's kind of like probably I don't want to say it's a horror story, but it's just like not what we were expecting or something like that. But I don't think we've necessarily had like something bad happen on
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, I think as Sonders we haven't, but
Yeah.
as individuals,
Yeah,
we
individuals,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we learned that our individual like businesses that we've done, we took it into Sonders like, hey, we know the red flags.
Yeah, yeah.
We know what the green flags are.
Yeah, take those experiences so you
Yeah.
can like kind of grow together.
It's gonna happen though.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's gonna happen sooner or
Yeah.
later.
Kind of curious though, like how do you all like filter between what a good client is and a bad client? Because I know you talked about this specific project, like, oh, this person was dedicated, motivated, responsive. What makes a good client for Seek Saunders specifically, and what is like a bad client, like someone you don't want to work with?
Should we go from bad and then good?
Yeah, I feel like the bad part tends to lead to the good stuff later.
Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah, just what are the qualities of a bad client? Like what is like, oh dang, like I don't, these are red flags.
So I'll bring up an example and then I'll put up some like supporting things on that. So there was this potential client that me and him met at MOA.
He said,
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. And we both showed up and we thought that this was going to be like a proper like sit down meeting because he wanted to meet both of us, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to talk about, from like his messages, he wanted to talk about us, about working together and all that stuff. But when we got there, he was just talking about himself and his brand. And he had the tone of like we were already going to be working with him.
Right, he's Russian. Everything.
And we didn't even get a chance to ask him any questions.
Yeah.
And it was like, why are we here? Because we have nothing for you if you're not gonna let us ask questions.
Yeah.
With that, I think people that don't have an understanding of like what we do, which is completely fine. We're fine like educating people, but if they kind of like stick to their guns and be like, no, we can't do this, or no, budget can't go like this, or something like that. It's just then they become very difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Versus our most recent client with Rooted by Stories, he gave us creative control over everything, right? Because he necessarily didn't know what he wanted. He had an idea, and we kind of built it out for him, which is great. If he didn't have like a vision, that's fine. That's part of our job. But the thing was that he actually listened to us. He was really receptive. Any feedback that he gave us, it was never like you guys are stupid, or
Right,
like
right.
why, like questioning
Right,
like
right.
what we're doing. Pretty much he was like a dream client because he listened,
Yeah,
honestly.
listen, trusted,
It was
and
open.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the dude is all the way in LA.
yeah,
So like,
right.
Yeah, like that's enough trust where it's like, hey, like how can you trust someone from out of state too,
Yeah.
you know?
And he
It's
wasn't even
tough.
at this
Nope.
on set.
No.
That's the biggest thing. Like he didn't even. Most people want to be like on and watching things happen. So it's got to be like a crazy amount of trust. So like I'm sure y'all had like a ton of meetings beforehand and
Oh yeah, like
communication.
mostly like weekly meetings with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure that like helped them build that trust too. So they kind of establishing that relationship. Um, but yeah, like the bad clients, like you said, like it. I feel like they don't really understand your process fully, and they just start to rush to like just start like, all right, we got to we're trying to do this now without having any of those systems in place, and really like taking a step back and being like, listening to what your process is or what they need, and really like building that out before like anything starts is kind of super important because I feel like those clients who start to rush things, they end up being like really bad headaches later on. So I'm sure y'all dodged a bullet there with that one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we did take on some projects
from that person.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, but we're like, if we're gonna do like, he has to pay us though. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he like sent us. Well, he sent me like 10 images, and he told me to like retouch it. I was like, okay, like if you want me to retouch it, like that's like $25 per photo,
Sure.
and it could be more too, depending on
Yeah.
how long it takes. And he did like some video stuff for him too.
Yeah, he sent me videos and stuff, and I was like, I can make stuff like this for you. I mean, I watermarked it because
Yeah.
I knew that he would have taken it and ran
with it, yeah.
And it's like, we didn't even have a proper conversation with you, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
No conversation and no contract.
Yeah.
So that's like another thing too. He kind of just want us to, like you said, to like just get started on the project. And we were like, yeah, like that's not how we run things. Like we didn't have like a proper sit down. You didn't let us talk for first, and then he also wasn't very open as well. And I think that's the part where it's like he just felt like rushed, or like, yeah, it didn't feel right.
Yeah, I think one thing that I remember him saying is that he wanted that whole thing that we did for him as like a test run.
Right.
Which is,
test run.
yeah, and it's like,
Free work.
it's like, sure, test run, but I'm gonna watermark it, like,
Yeah. He was fighting for exposure.
yeah.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess how important is it? Because now that you've learned from that, like to have like an agreement put together for your clients and just making sure you're aligned on like that scope. Like, how has that helped you? I guess as like a company to like make sure, because I'm sure that filters out to the bad clients. Now you have agreements or you have certain things in place where it's like, no, like we got to take a step back. Like there's steps to this. Like has that, as having a process like that, helped you feel like working with more higher quality clients? Do you think so?
It kind of does actually, because when clients like reach out to us now, we kind of want to understand like, yeah, we do want to work with you. That's the first thing, is like, yeah, we do want to work with you, but also like, what is it that you want? Like, is the creative control going to be us or is it going to be you? How long is the production going to be? If it's going to be longer, like that's going to scale more on the budget. If your budget doesn't meet our budget, how can we at least meet in the middle to understand like, hey, how can we still build out a structure for you so that we can at least build a piece for you so that you can gain our trust and so we gain your trust as well. And I think we have done a really good job of like doing that, of like, hey, like we talk to each other first. We're like, hey, like, do we want to do this? And then she was like, man, like sometimes no, but we're like, we still had to like find a way to work with them some way, somehow. Cause that's who we are at the end of the day. It's like Sonders, is to understand like, hey, like how can we still work with you at a budget that you have for us, but can you work with us as well? Because if you can't, we can't work with you. But if you can, we can at least find a leverage to work with one another. And I think that's where it's at. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, even though your budget doesn't work out, like we still want to understand like how can we get you to where you can like trust us. So I think that's where we're at with that one. So I think we do a really good job now.
Yeah. So like when you get reached out to do you like have I don't know, like a list of things like, all right, this client needs to hit these markers for us to say absolutely yes. Like, obviously, like, do you have that like in place when you have that initial meeting, like that call? What are you looking for in that call that makes you say like, yes, we want to go and work with you, you know? Because I think you still need to like get to know them a little bit more, and then so is there anything like in that call that um, that are kind of like the checklist before saying yes, and like how important is that for, I don't know, working with the right client, you know?
I
That's a really good question. I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie. That one's got me thinking.
In my head, like at the end of the day, and this might sound a little stingy in a way, but gauging what they want their budget to be, right? Because if it's like a low number budget, if if it's a low number budget to where we can see, they're just starting or something like that, completely understandable. But if they seem like a business that is decently established and they have like high quality things already, but they're still throwing us low numbers, for us, we kind of think of that as like, do you respect us enough to like,
Are you taking this
yeah,
seriously?
you gonna take this serious, or do you just see us as people that are gonna, just make something for you and hopefully like you'll be happy with it?
Yeah.
Because that's not how we run. We run in a way to where we want to work with you, and we want you to take us serious. And at the end of the day, like, money does in a way account for like how serious people are. It's like if you work with an agency, right? If they give you a high number, that's a very serious campaign versus, they give you like $1,000, it's,
And
You
expect
pull
a
my
lot from
iPhone out,
you.
bro.
yeah,
Let me take out this iPhone.
so
Sometimes we want to do that.
Great.
because people can see our work,
Yeah.
it's out there, our website's out there, our Instagram's out there, and they contact us, right? And then they see our level of work, and then when we get an inkling of like, it's easy, this is all I want, this is all I need, or whatever. It's like, I don't know, it raises up a yellow flag of
Sure.
like caution,
Yeah. Does the type of company they are, or the type of work or project that they come to you with, also act as like a part of that checklist? Like, oh, they're part of this industry or this project. Like I don't know, like if a project like interests or intrigues you, is that part of that decision as well? It's like, oh, like, yes, I'm gonna do it. Like if a client has a budget and the client or the project is cool, like um is their process, like streamlined? Like, are you looking for those things to make sure, like, because I think it's like kind of hard to like figure out everything in the first call.
For sure.
But I think like I said, I've been like, for myself, trying to create those checklists of like, I need to make sure that this client understands how, if we operate similarly, because then we know that it's gonna go smoother. So like,
Oh yeah, I
So,
think
yeah.
for sure, like the inquiry. I think the inquiry definitely does matter a lot. Sometimes, like for me at least, it does. Like, hey, like what is it that we're shooting? Is it gonna be like a commercial campaign, or is it gonna be like a photo video? Like that needs to at least hit our target, and like we had to also be like very strategic, and also like very like have our own standards, right? We're like, hey, like we specifically do this. Like, are you sure you're hitting the right industry? Like, are we the one who's for you at first? But at the same time, we also have to take a stab at it too. We're gonna be like, hey, like we saw your inquiry, but we want to understand like, hey, what is it that you wanted? Just like with a recent client who reached out to us, he kind of wanted like creative control, but his budget wasn't within our mean. But he only wants to do like a 3 hour shoot. So I'm like, okay, well, this sounds kind of interesting. So I had to we both had to approve together first. Like
Yeah.
if one says no and the other says yes, it's like we still had to ask this client more questions. But if we both say yes, we'll be like, okay, what is it that we're getting ourselves into? And so I think luckily, like I think it's great that we both work together, because we need to understand like, hey, we have standards too, we have values, and there's also a boundary where our client cannot reach. So yeah, I think the inquiry really does matter, but as long as they hit the right questions and also the right answers for us, we'll be like, okay, how can we further digest more into this project now?
Sure. No, yeah, I think that's really important in like kind of filtering out like the clients you want to work with, the industry you want to like build your portfolio on, so you can continue to do more of that work. So yeah, I think like as like you continue to build like Seek Saunders, like that's just going to be really important to like be part of your process. But I think like a lot of people who are listening now can like learn to, I feel like people who maybe like don't really have those systems in place or are like a solo photographer or looking to like build a business. I think like sometimes it's easy to say like yes right away and then not have those systems in place, and then you just go into a whole loop of headaches. So yeah, I think it's super important for people to know like it's not just about the creative. It's having those business systems in place so you can like make sure everyone involved knows what they're getting into, so then everyone is creatively collaborating and also everyone's taken care of at every step. But I guess like transitioning to, because we obviously met more this year, and then we had like conversation with like starting the event and doing some more events in the studio, and like, oh yeah, like this would be cool if like the at least the short time that I've been, and just hearing from Viv like how much like the studio is being used. I was like, oh yeah, there's some open dates throughout the month, so I'm like, all right, cool, well maybe we should like host an event or something, or I don't know, try to do more in studio. And then y'all came to me about building an event. So um, and yeah, I guess tell me a little bit more about why you wanted to do more events. Like, how did that come about between you two? Was there something that you saw that was needed in
On
doing
you.
more events?
We
So
both have the same idea, anyways.
yeah, so with our event off the clock, I guess for myself, I've noticed that it's been hard to, I don't want to say hard, but sometimes it can get tricky to connect with people within the industry, and especially with people that have a skill set that will help you out and you can help them out, and then just also just building some sort of like relationship on that. I would say the past 2 years from last year to now, I've connected with a lot more people just going to like some meetups and just talking to people. And honestly, I think that's when I started to realize like, some people like they don't really have like that connection with certain people within the industry. I know like Ireland has like Muse, and you can connect with like photographers and models and all that stuff. And we wanted to make something that wasn't necessarily like that, but more creator focused within the industry in a way to try to connect people, because the only way for us to build this community and to make it thrive is to have interconnecting relationships to where we at least know of each other, and we can know people that might know people that will help out, which in our case for Rooted by Stories was the case, because when we were trying to build our team, there was a lot of roles that we needed filled that we necessarily didn't know. Like you mentioned Kirk. That was like
Audio guy.
Yeah, that was a saving grace. Like I knew an audio guy, but he's like top tier, like Oscar winner. Like I went to his studio and I held an Oscar in my hand. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
But he was obviously a lot more out of our budget, and he said that straight up, which is completely respectable.
Yeah.
I don't want to underpay somebody.
Yeah.
With that. But it's things like that to where that's why we wanted to build this out to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
To find those like people, like what if we need this or what if we need them, And I think at least when we met you and brought you on that project, we're like, I think Devin knows people. So we're like, I think we could have him as our source of like production people.
Yeah.
Even though, because I'm a photographer, so it's kind of like it's hard to find more of the filmmaker or like the film production people.
Sure.
And so I think we were like, hey, this is why you were like our guy when we like brought you in on the project. Otherwise, like we would have been like, dude, we had to do everything ourselves. Like we were gonna like rent out audio stuff. We're gonna be like, hey, we're just gonna test it out. We're just gonna like wing it on the go and practice it for like a week. But we're like, you know what? Let's like ask around first, you know. And we're like, hey, let's just ask. Like Devin, I feel like he knows people.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I've been able to work on so many sets with large teams that's like now I got people on my phone that I can reach out to. Like, hey, you need an audio person, gaffer, ACs, you know, grips, just like kind of anyone, producers, like you name it. Like I probably have someone on my phone. I could probably build a team like pretty quickly if I wanted to, you know. And then I've also like I organize everything on my Notion, but I built out like a just like a vendor list of everyone like I've worked with. So like I have a list of everyone that I worked with or possibly haven't worked with that I do want to work with, and that's like kind of like my master list of like, all right, if I need to build out a team, I can reach out to specific people. And then I always like to bring on someone that I haven't worked with before because, like you said, like for the community to thrive, we need to bring in new people, not just the people that have this crazy amount of experience, but or we worked with before. But I think that's why like doing the event, you know, we can always get in contact with them, connect with them, and then be able to be like, hey, like we talked about this at the event, and, you know, I got this project, and then hopefully be able to like build the relationship more after meeting at the event and stuff. So yeah, it's super cool to like be able to put on the event with y'all and you know have a mix of so many different kind of filmmakers, creatives, photographers. Um, yeah, so like that was kind of cool to see. But I guess building that the event, I guess did you um, I guess because I guess like going through that event, we had about like what 15? No, wait, maybe a little bit less, maybe like 10 to 15 people.
It was actually like right on 15, I believe.
It was 10.
It was 10?
10 people came,
10.
including us, which
So
was
we're 13?
13.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
pretty good sized group. But I honestly too like I feel like at first as people started to trickle in, I was like, oh, like I kind of was like it's kind of small, but then people started to show up. I was like, all right, this is cool. Like now people are actually talking and like connecting, and I like I never really put on an event before, so I was like this. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, same,
You know,
same.
like,
you know?
but you know, I think people understood too what we were doing, and I had a really good comment from Anna, who was a filmmaker who came. She was like, "Oh, like this was one of the best networking community building events I ever went to because y'all,
Really?
Damn.
yeah, they're like y'all just did things differently that she wasn't really able to like. She really liked the small like focused conversations and all the activities and stuff. So that was like a good feedback. I was like, oh, like someone actually got a lot of value from this and wants to probably come back again.
Yeah, that's honestly all I was looking for was just to give people value for that, and also just get people connected because I know how it is not to know anybody. Honestly, like I was lucky enough when I first moved here that I had him and Vivian, like push me out into the community and get me to know people. But I know a lot of other people aren't as fortunate like that, and so if I can be that kind of resource for people, then that I'm doing my job.
I was kind of curious though, because I was in the opposite group, small group. But what were the conversations like? What were some of the challenges that some of the creatives in your group were discussing about?
I think it's just
Were you
more-
popping in there too, or no? Were you like
I
going
was
back
in a
and forth?
few.
Yeah.
Towards the end, at least towards the end of the hour, I wasn't as much because I was just more like overlooking at people and also conversation as well
Yeah.
too. But I think the biggest challenge that most people were saying is like connecting and networking. It's like, hey, like, does this fit my realm? Does this fit my route? I think it was just that part. I think the creating, oh, okay, of course, creating what too? Like what am I creating? I think that's the challenging part, at least from what I heard. I feel like everyone is on that phase one stage when you first start out, and you're like, oh, I'm like really excited, and then when you like are actually doing it and you feel stuck, like, where do I go from there? Do I continue doing this? Do I network with people? Do I network with people who I don't know? What am I creating? You know, I think that's where it's kind of like, okay, maybe this could be the event that we could be like, okay, maybe have you done this? Have you tried this? Or maybe let me just hear you out, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot in our group was like, there was just some like emerging creatives who were trying to get into this for the first time. Um, and one of them asked like, oh, like, how do you know what to do when the path isn't clear? Because I feel like when you're starting something, the learning curve is big. You know, you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do, and I think like obviously connecting people who are doing it is one of the ways. But I feel like too, especially with like what the conversation was going about was continue to like meet with those people, um, learn from their process, take bits and pieces that you can apply to your own, and honestly too, still like take accountability over what you're trying to pursue and just do. I think you can learn a lot from just doing it, and and I feel like as you're doing it, you're kind of refining your identity and refining what you want to create more of. I feel like, especially, I'm sure in all of y'all's like earlier journeys, I feel like when I was doing like video, I was doing like everything and then start to like niche down like every
Yeah.
year. So it's like you just have to put in the work and it's not gonna come overnight. You gotta like it really does take years. Like you say you've been doing this what 9, 10 years, whatever, but like it does take a long time to get to the level that you want to get to. Um, so yeah, it's just like every year you have to just keep pushing to like how you can elevate your work each time with each project and be persistent and because it's sometimes it can get hard. So you might there's those challenging times where you might want to quit. So those are like some of the conversations we're talking about and um, especially if you're trying to get work to reaching out to people. People have been saying like, oh, like reaching out, like I don't. It feels really emotionally exhausting, like reaching out to people. So I don't know if y'all have anything on that, but basically, um, what I was saying is like, oh, like instead of like reaching out to people, like I stopped doing cold emails and calls for me. I think it's just about attracting the right people who want to work with you, and that's like as long as you're putting out work that speaks your messaging, your brand, your values, your perspective, people are going to be drawn to it, and then you'll naturally just like, um, and you just got to keep doing that kind of work if you want to get into it. But yeah, any thoughts on like, you know, having I don't know, being trained from reaching out to people a lot and like how you could like maybe alleviate some of that.
Within our business, we're still doing cold emails.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
feel that.
Yeah, right now.
But I think just back to what you're saying, I think we learn to focus more on spec projects now. We want to do work that we want to do, and so we've done like a Nike commercial shoot. We've done, I mean, of course, hospitality. We've done like THC drink. I think that was like a most like fun shoot that we've done.
Yeah, the
Like we were like
beverage.
no budget, no nothing, but at least we got free product. And I brought out all the talents because I was like, hey, these guys just fit like what we wanted. And I'm like, let's just have fun with it. And I think that's when we like realized like, dude, like that's the type of stuff that we want to do. And then once that starts happening, I think that's when the client starts coming.
Sure.
I didn't think it was coming in as like effective as what we wanted, but the right type of clients were coming. Like I think that's where it matters most. Like the right people were coming, even though like it wasn't more of a client growth that we wanted. It was more like, hey, at least we were working with people that we want. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I think it's we still had to break through like those barriers. Still, like
Sure.
we're still in the process of like, hey, like we're there, but it's still making its way there some way somehow.
Yeah, how like if someone were to like trying to attract clients and doing spec work, like um obviously everyone's kind of got like their own lives going on, but like how important is it to like balance like paid work and spec work and like how many spec projects like would you do a year if you were like trying to get into that industry? Like I think like for me, like I just find like it's hard to, and maybe not me, maybe it's just in my own head about planning a spec project. But I feel like I only do like one spec project a year. but I feel like I could be doing more at a smaller scale, like being able to do a half day or a full day or something like that, but like less small, like a smaller team, and really just being focused on a few things rather than like a big like spec project. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I don't have time for a spec project, but at the same time, like, you know what, we just gotta start. Because I definitely want to like break into like different kind of work. But yeah, I guess speaking on spec projects, like how would you balance that and paid work stuff?
That's a good question. I can go a little bit and then you can just go after.
Yeah.
Like, I think what I told him is like, hey, like, if we're not shooting for clients, let's challenge ourselves. Like, let's at least do something each month, if not each month, quarterly. It has to be like a challenge, no matter what. We're like, if we can do something like this and we can still show it out, we got BTS that we can do, we can still hit up the creators that want to work with us. I think that's where it's like, hey, like we're still having fun. I think that's the best part. Is like we can still shoot something, have fun with it, and it's our own creative control too.
Right. Yeah, you're able to take everything from end to end and be able to like take your idea and bring it to life. Yeah, and then bring people along to be part of it. It's like such a fun thing to do. When I was working at my other production company, we did a spec project in the North Shore up north of this like kind of like life or this product that used in like the wood, like nature, and we like kind of made this kind of a journey of using this product in different places in the North Shore. So like that was a fun experience to get that spec project and get more like product focused and experience in something. So I think spec projects you can kind of like experiment too a little bit on like, all right, is this just a product or is this an experience with the product or does it tell a story? I think it's good to like experiment on how you can like build out what the spec is actually communicating, so you can attract like, oh, this isn't just one product shot. Like there's actually like talent or like a story aligned with it. But I guess too, we're kind of just like wrapping up. But if there is someone who is like, I don't know, a beginner photographer or like a filmmaker or videographer who is trying to take like their hobby into like a profession, what is like the one key advice that each of you would like give to that person who's like, um, maybe is like just sees it as a hobby, but maybe wants to take it to the next level, kind of thing? What's the
Yeah, I always say just do it. Like you're not ever gonna start unless you just do it. Looking back at myself, going from college when I was doing video stuff, and then deciding out of college that I was gonna pursue it, I just said I'm just gonna do it. Right. A lot of people kind of get in their head to where, they have all these like what ifs or this is not gonna work. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna know unless like you do it. When I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I was cold emailing people, making video, like cold email stuff. And I literally had no idea what I'm doing, trying to figure out money structures and all that stuff. But that's the process is you kind of learn on the way and you'll start to connect with other people that can teach you different things. But at the end of the day, it's just starting and just keep going at it if that's something you want to do.
I think from a photography standpoint, and maybe like creative too. I mean, I didn't see this until like 2-3 years ago, and even coming as like a fine artist and also graphic designer and now photographer, hopefully soon to be creative director too. I think what I will say is like take risk, but also like when you're taking these type of risk, like your work has to show for what it is. So I think for me, like I always knew I've always wanted to do something very like cinematic, very candid, very lifestyle, right? And so my whole focus, at least starting out with photography, is like if I can just lean on just that specific thing, people will know me as like, hey, he does this like really well. And I think that's what attracts people to want to keep coming back. It's like, hey, he does really good at this. Like it's different from other people. And so they want to come back. And I think when you see like results like that, it's kind of like, okay, I think you see like a consistency. And once you start seeing that coming from a hobbyist into a profession, that'll lean on to like that professional or maybe like a potential client will see like that type of work, like they want that look, they want that feel. And so when you start seeing those type of results, you'll start seeing results in a way where it's like, hey, this feels more real.
Yeah, and also too, I feel like it helps build that confidence with that repetition. Like the more that you're doing it, the more that you're, um, yeah, I feel like you just start to naturally build confidence in your skills, the way that you operate, and how and what value you can bring to people, and then that helps you just create a stronger identity as you as a creative or as an artist. I feel like it doesn't really happen overnight. Like you just continue to develop and refine yourself over the years. Another, I guess, question that kind of came up to was like, or like not question, but maybe a concern was like, if you think about it, like I feel like there's a lot of older production people and there's a lot of like younger creatives, but I feel like there's like a gap there. Like I feel like the people who are older in the production are eventually going to retire in the next maybe 10, 15 years. But I feel like there's also like a lot of younger creatives maybe around our age who are at a spot in their career where they could still learn more. Like for me, like I feel like I can still learn a lot, like a lot more. But I don't really like know a lot of people who are super seasoned who've been doing this for like 30 years, and I'm like trying to figure out like how do we bridge this gap and get connected with like the older generation so we can learn like for people who are doing it at a more senior level or more like um, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of other people who have a lot more knowledge that I feel like I could learn from and trying to figure out like all right how do we get connected with these people and because I feel like ultimately at the end what they know that the people who are like maybe in their 40s or 50s who are like senior level need to pass on the knowledge to like the younger so we can like continue to reuse that knowledge and continue to push the industry. So do y'all have any thoughts on that in a sense? Because that was like part of the conversation in our small group at the event.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to newer and older generation, it's a not a one way kind of a thing, right? Because media is changing nowadays, and people that are younger are starting to like recognize how media is now, so they're kind of pursuing it in that way, right? And when I go on like Facebook pages or whatever, there's a mix of people within the older generation that are like really hard-headed on like the old ways of doing things, and then there's some that are more open to like like newer ways of things and all that stuff. So being able to have that like respect of like old and new and trying to merge that and trying to learn from like your elders is something that I think is important. But you need to be both sides need to be able to listen to each other, because a lot of what I see from the older generation is that they say like this is not how it's done, or
Yeah.
like I made a video about a little digicam, and I just said vintage 2000 digital look, right? And the guy commented, that's not vintage. Vintage is like, older than that, blah, blah, whatever. I'm just like, I can't win, dude,
Yeah, makes sense.
So I think it's that gap and that understanding of like old and new media, and just learning from those two is something that both sides need to do.
I think yeah, like you said, there's a new age of how media is being made and consumed, and it's not necessarily um, I don't know traditional anymore. So I feel like people are pursuing their own paths within the creative. I think maybe in my case, I'm just like wanting to keep elevating. Like, all right, what's the next step? What's that? How do I get my hands on an Ari or something?
Yeah, I get you.
I feel like that's what it is too. I feel like the newer generations, they're still having fun with it, right?
Yeah.
But I think once they get more curious with it, I feel that's when you can start reaching out to the older generation and be like, hey, like, how can I shoot like you? Like, how can I get to that level? Or how can I like get to that knowledge that you once had? Because like we all don't know. Like for me, like I am actually gonna go towards like a more fine arts series of like photography, right? So I kind of want to reach out to more dedicated people in that kind of route. So I think for me, like I feel like I've had all my fun already. Now I kind of want to take it a little bit more serious, but still have fun with it. You know, does that
Sure.
make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. Cool. Well, yeah. Well, appreciate y'all being on the podcast. Like, I feel like we were able to like have, a conversation. We've had a ton of conversations, but we were able to like talk a little bit more about Seek Saunders and about how you both are like joined forces and getting to know that story. I feel like I haven't really heard from y'all personally, and then yeah, just kind of get to know like your process and how you can like add value. And I'm sure like people who are listening to like have gained just, like a lot of value of maybe from an operational standpoint of thinking about if they're wanting to start their own business or entrepreneurship or even just the creative processes. I'm sure they're like learning about from y'all about that. So yeah, thanks for being on the podcast and yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, it's a wrap.